we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we have the pleasure to be joined today with Tom Ritz from the Jackson County Fair as part of our Hoosier Homestead section of the show. Thanks so much for joining us, Tom. We
You're
are
quite welcome.
definitely excited to talk about the Jackson County Fair. So
I am too.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I mean, it sneaks up on us every year. I'm like, wow, it's fair time already. So
Yes,
let's
it
talk
is.
about the Jackson County Fair. What makes it special in Southern Indiana, and what keeps people coming back year after year?
There's just so many things. We have so many parts. A lot of people call the Jackson County Fair the Little State Fair, but it is accessible. You don't have to pay admission. You don't have to pay parking. We've got a little bit of everything. We're probably not the best in anything, but we've got great food stands. We've got a great carnival.
I would argue about the breast food.
Oh, definitely.
I would definitely argue
our
about
food stands.
Well, and the rides are good too.
Yeah, the rides are just awesome.
Yeah.
I just saw that Lawrence County doesn't have a carnival this year because they just don't have it.
Yeah.
And Poor Jack's rides are just absolutely fantastic.
They're a great company.
And our food court, their church stands are so good. Homemade pies and just great food. And the great thing about our food stands is the money spent there at our food stands basically stays in Jackson County. I know you can have food trucks and all that, but this is a Jackson County event, and it supports their activities, and it's a great thing.
I know you've been involved with the fair for a while, but you've been going to the fair for a lot of years.
Yeah, I've only been on the fair board 8 years now. But I said it's a great opportunity, but it's a payback for me. When I was 13 and 14 years old, I just went to the fair and just absolutely loved it. And that was 60 years ago, okay? So it's this special place for people in Jackson County to go there. And it's my time to pay back, because I just assumed that all the work I just showed up the week of the fair and just enjoyed the fair for the week, and it was gone.
Yes.
And now I'm finding out how much work it takes and how
Yes.
many volunteers. I mean, we got 31 board members, but there's 10 or 15 volunteers for every one of those board members. And then there's so much work that goes in, and it takes place all year. But we got great support in Jackson County for
I love that. So there's music, there's grandstand
Yes.
events. Those are ticketed events. So
Yes.
where can people go online and get more information?
If you go to jacksoncountyfair.org, that you'll get a website, and it has all the activities. But I mean, this year we're really looking forward. I don't know if it's been announced officially, but Chris Cagle,
you heard it here
Chris
first.
Cagle's going to be here on Friday night.
Okay.
And Chicks Dig It, and I hope that everybody will show up. We've been kind of like
I've met him. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, well, you probably get to meet him again, because I'm really looking forward to it. We've got Connor Barnett on the fair board, and Connor's very much involved in Rock the Rhine, and we've kind of said, hey, let's step it up a notch, and so we're really kind of stepping up. But we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll get some Chris Cagle fans and just some people. And
he's a great artist.
Looking forward to it. Yes.
Yeah, that's super special. All right, so speaking about food, I know that's what we like to talk about. We're talking about donuts and everything else today.
Yes.
So tell me some of your favorites that you have to have every single year at the Jackson County Fair.
Oh, you got your besides our church stands, we got pork producers and cattlemen's. Well, I have to try both pork and beef.
You have
at
to.
those two.
Yeah.
I have to have the steak and potato salad at let's see, that Sours food stand.
Sours, yep.
My wife and I have to try every pie the homemade pies at Emmanuel.
I mean,
food
it's a
stand.
law. It's a rule.
It's a
Yeah.
law. And then we have to go to the Taco House. There's just you got to have.
Well, it's all
tacos there.
calorie free that week,
it's all
right?
calorie free.
Yeah.
And the Christian church has they got the pork.
Yes,
It's just
yes.
absolutely great. Plus, I got to go to get a pineapple whip at
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's
that's
just
my
awesome,
favorite.
yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that pineapple whip that you don't get
So
anywhere
I
else.
have to,
So
I
I
have
don't know
to
what it is.
fast the week before the fair, so I can go
Okay,
ahead and
all right,
eat at the
saving
fair.
up all your
Exactly
calories. But then you
right.
guys shrink your stomach down to like this. You have to work
Exactly.
on that. So
Yeah.
you got to do the opposite, I think. I don't know. But either way, people need to get to the fair. I love
Yes.
that it's still a free fair.
Yes.
That's a really amazing, really nice feature
Yeah,
for Southern
It
Indiana.
is really fantastic, because you can go around if you really are tight on a budget. There's all kind of indoor and outdoor vendors.
the animals
available.
alone.
That looking at all the 4-H animals is just.
I go every year and take pictures of the biggest pig. I don't know why that
the biggest
fascinates
pig.
me. I'm like, how does this happen in nature? I don't know.
I guess we can always feel better about ourselves if we go see.
Says the
biggest
girl who
pig.
just had a bunch of donuts this
Yeah,
morning.
there you
So
go.
there you go. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking about, and this is something so special. So if someone's never been to the Jackson County Fair, I tell them, be prepared people come in advance and they set up their chairs.
Yes.
Because at the radio station, 92.7, 99.3, we give out the fans.
You're right across from the
We're
chairs.
right across. We give out the fans, and we probably go through 1,000 at least fans. I mean, what we give out, but people, it's like a tradition. You set the chairs up just so you can chat. It's like a reunion.
It is a real community event. It's just a really wonderful time because you get to see people that you have. It's almost a reunion type of situation. And, people take
That's
advantage of
endearing. I've never seen that at any fair.
No, you don't see
except
that
ours.
any place.
I love that. I love that about Southern Indiana. So that's
and
super
I got to
awesome.
give we got great 4-H activities, 4-H
You
and
do.
FFA activities, and our 4-H goes. My part is basically the sheep barn, but our livestock at Jackson County Fair, a lot of the kids will go to the state fair and are very competitive. We've had a lot of champions in all of our barns.
Sure.
And that is just an exciting part because we represent Jackson
you haven't
County.
been to the fair unless you've been to the frog jumping contest.
Exactly.
I mean, that's still a thing.
Exactly.
Sounds great. People can go online, get more information.
Yes.
Of course, jacksoncountyfair.org is where you need to check it out. Again, it's a free event, but you want to get your tickets to the grandstand shows.
July 20th to 26th.
Jackson County Fair, be there.
Looking to build your dream home? TK Constructors invites you to our open house event at our brand new model center in Seymour. Join us June 14th, 11 to 3 at 9850 West US Highway 50 to tour our newest model home. Talk with home building experts. Discover how TK makes building on your land simple and affordable. TK is the Midwest's most trusted home builder. Visit tkconstructors.com for details.
And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and this is another example of why I love my job. And today we're getting to visit with Danielle with Old Bartley House, located in Nashville, Indiana. Super excited to talk all things sweets and sweet little drinks. So it's all here for you at Old Bartley House in Nashville. So thanks so much for joining us, Danielle. As you can see, we're talking about the volants. So let's talk about what kind of donut that is. It sounds super fancy. How'd you come up with it? And what is inside this little box today?
Oh, yeah, lots of goodies for sure. So at the Old Bartley House, we wanted to do something special and unique, not just a regular donut. We call them volants. So they are a French Americana layered donut. It's like a fried croissant, more or less. And they are, lighter, like fluffier. They're, much bigger than a regular typical donut you would see. And yeah, we wanted to do something special and unique because we are special and unique, and being, in Brown County, and we wanted to do something that just was different from everyone else.
Yeah. All right. So I love that inspiration. And let's talk about the building that you're located. That's been around since 1886. Of course, the donuts are new, but let's talk about the historical value of that building and how kind of the history may has played into where you are today.
Yeah, so the Old Bartley House is in the Registry of National Historic Buildings, and we're really proud of that. The Gibson family built the house in 1886. 1905, the Bartley family moved in, so that was kind of different in that time. Usually the family that built the home was named after that, but so not sure why it's, called the Bartley House, but they moved in 1905, and they were there until the 40s. And that's when Frank Hohenberger moved in, and he was there until about 1967. So if you come in our building, we've really done an homage to Frank Hohenberger. He was a famous photographer in the area. He had a column actually at the Indianapolis Star, though, so he used to live in Indy. He came down, discovered Brown County, and absolutely loved it. He really actually helped put Brown County on the map. Wow. And he came down and wanted to take photos of the locals. A lot of people were really kind of afraid of that at first. Like, it was the time when some people thought, like, getting your photo taken, your soul would be taken away.
Yeah.
So it took a while for the local community to, trust him. But once they did, and he took photos of like nature scenes a lot too. But so there's over 15,000 photos of his, all protected at the Eli Lilly Library at IU. Wow. And we got the rights to reproduce ones that we wanted. Okay. So in the building, thank you. That's super exciting. So we have really done, just really wanted to restore the building and renovate it in a way that preserved the unique quality of the Victorian home, but also like bring in some new, modern approaches that also will, help stand the test of time for years and decades for people.
I love that. That's super fun. So now, fast forward all these years, you're serving volants. So that's super exciting. So should we unbox? Should we do like an official unboxing? I don't know how graceful I can do this with not spilling anything, but we'll give it a shot. They just kind of up in here, and we want everyone to see these things. Oh my goodness. That's super fun. Look at that. That's definitely amazing. Mm-hmm. How do you even choose the one you want?
I know. Well, that's why
we got to know your favorite.
So you can cut and like share. Yes. They're really good to share.
Yes, we will do that.
I love, and we talked about some of like the seasonal,
yes.
favorites.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about the seasonal ones.
Like that we inspired with Brown County. So one of our most popular ones is the Brown County Breakfast. So that's what these two are over here.
Okay.
So it's a maple glaze with cinnamon sugar topping. The Abe Martin apple, also Abe Martin, was a character.
Right.
If you're in Indiana, you know of Abe Martin. Yeah. So the Abe Martin apple, that one is a filled one. So some of these are stuffed as well. So when you dig in, you'll get a mouthful for sure. But
so how did you come up with these recipes?
We have we all work together. We have a general manager, Dietrich Gosser, who's amazing, has been in the food industry for a long time. And, but our team has really worked together to make these all special and unique.
Okay. All right. Well, make sure we're getting a good shot of these. You can get your favorite here, the old Bartley House in Nashville. Danielle, tell everyone when you're open.
We're open 7 days a week. Right now, we're open Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
We'll be back. This is what Hoosier Hustle is all about, and you can hustle your way over. You might want to hustle a little bit after you burn some of those calories from making these donuts. Hustle to and hustle from. But either way, get to Old Bartley House. We'll be back right here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Wherever you go, our stations have your music, local news, local sports, and local weather covered. 95.3 WUME brings you today's best hits, along with Paoli sports, local news, and weather. 98.7 WSCZ plays the timeless favorites from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, as well as local weather and Orleans high school sports. And 96.9 WKLO keeps it country with all your favorite classic country hits, plus Corridon and North Harrison high school sports, as well as local news and weather. Your soundtrack for Southern Indiana is found on 95.3 WUME, 98.7 WSEZ, and 96.9 WKLO.
And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're here with Joe and Mitchell today talking about Old Settlers Days. We are actually hanging out in Scott County, Indiana, talking about a big event right around the corner, featuring them as part of our Hoosier Happening segment right here on Southern Indiana Now. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk about the event. When is it? It's a super old event. There's a lot of history around it, right?
Yep, a lot of history. The event is on June 13th and 14th, Father's Day weekend. Actually next weekend.
Yeah.
It's a 147th annual event hosted by the Lexington Volunteer Fire Department, all volunteers. Joe's actually been in the community for a long time, so he knows the history behind the event. Joe, you want to say a couple words about?
Yeah, it was started not too long after the railroad track went through Lexington, Indiana, east of here at Scottsburg, and they held this event, and it's been held continuously since 1878.
Wow. Okay. So super. Is it free admission?
Yes.
Free admission.
Free
okay.
And it's they have a fish fry, and then some of the people come and just sit around and talk and visit with the neighbors.
I love that. What's a must do when you're there? Something that's a tradition for you, like food you have to eat or something you have to do?
So obviously the fish sandwich is always a really big draw for people. We have live bands all day long, both days. We have a live musician this year. We do a town parade, a 5K. I mean, we are very busy this weekend. This is kind of our weekend to show off and show kind of what Lexington and Scott County can bring to the community, and we have a lot of pride in this event. So.
Okay. Anything else they need to know, Joe, before they go?
Lexington was the original county seat of Scott County as early as 1820, and of course they were there during the Civil War, and they lost the county seat. They moved it to Scottsburg in 1874, something like that, a more central location. But it's also known for the first chewing gum factory in the United States was in Lexington, Indiana.
Okay.
Along with the second newspaper.
Okay.
So when Indiana became a state in 1816, a lot of printing was done in Lexington.
Wow. All right. Super special.
There's historical markers around there for
yeah, I love that.
A lot of history.
A lot of history. If you love it, you definitely want to get it on your calendars. That's coming up. Father's Day weekend, of course, that's right around the corner. We're talking now with Joe, and of course we've been talking about Old Settlers Days, but in our conversations, and this is why we wanted to share this with you, because he has all this great material about the history of Old Settlers Days and how Lexington came about and the connections and so forth, and he brings up chewing gum, and it reminded us about a segment we did not that long ago. So we're going to make up this chewing gum controversy, because this is what we know is that we were heard it was made in Seymour. You're giving us the backstory. So apparently there's like this more sordid history of chewing gum. So let's go for it.
This Asa Fitch started his business on the square in Lexington, Indiana. And
so you're saying it was invented here?
In 1870 in Lexington, he developed what would become the chewing gum. The business in town, one morning he was working and the building blew up and killed one of the workers, and when he rebuilt, he went to Seymour. There's a whole story about this.
Okay.
And of course went to Seymour, and it's called Fitch's Rubber, just all kinds of stuff about Fitch. But it does mention Seymour. But he got his start in Lexington, Indiana.
Okay, so the
I
pot
think
of
from
chewing gum
1870 to 1882, they developed chewing gum in Lexington, Indiana, not too far off the square.
Man, I don't know where our travels are going to take us next, but I hope that I hear that chewing gum was invented wherever that is.
And we also have another tie with Jackson County and Seymour is the Reno gang. When they did their train robberies and got caught, they brought 3 of them to the Scott County Jail. At that time was in Lexington, Indiana, on the square, where the school now stands there. But they were held there for a trial. I don't think it went to trial. They had the hearings there. But we do know that the vigilantes came to Lexington looking for them to hang them there.
Oh.
And they couldn't find them because the sheriff had caught wind of them and had moved them to New Albany. So that's how they got caught and hung in New Albany. But they had been in Lexington for quite some time.
Wow. Did they bring any of the treasure with them?
Well, we don't know about that.
Oh, man. That's another episode. We're still trying to find it. I don't know. I think we're doing like a treasure hunt here.
There's a lot of early history in Lexington because it was the original Scott County seat, and a lot of stuff went on over there. Second newspaper, printing press, stuff like that. It went on in early history of Southern Indiana.
Okay.
And we played a big part of that at Lexington.
Yeah, so I love that. So Deb, anything else you want to share about Lexington you think people need to know?
Well, the English family, they were pretty prominent. They were, if you ever go to the Circle Monument in Indianapolis, they lived right there on that circle. And the famous monument that now stands there, he was a president, William H. English, whose statue's on the square here in Scottsburg, was the one who pushed to get that built for the state of Indiana. And it's probably the most recognized monument in Indiana.
Prominent, And they were from Lexington.
They were from Lexington, born and raised right there.
We love our history here in Southern Indiana. Tell us how to get there and what people should explore if they're going to nose around Lexington.
If you come through up 65, Interstate Guelph Scottsburg exit, go through Scottsburg, and about 10 miles, you'll come to State Road 203. You can turn there and bring you right into Lexington. So nice scenic view drive through a creek and some nice wooded area, and you come into Lexington.
Apparently amazing people, right, Joe?
Yes, and when you come into town, you'll see a stone wall there. That's where the English family lived at one time before they went to Indianapolis.
All right, so big histories. That's all in Southern Indiana. We love it. We hope you do too. We'll be back here with Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Join me, Jay Hubbard, weekdays from 6 to 10 every morning. It's Jay's Morning Wake Up Call, blending today's greatest country hits with local news, weather, and a couple laughs. Jay's Morning Wake Up Call on 92.7 WXKU.
And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're talking today with Jamie Toppe with Scott County Community Foundation. Super excited to feature Scott County Community Foundation on our Hoosier Good News segment, because there's a lot of good things happening here. In fact, it speaks volumes, actually, on what you guys do. So, Jamie, let's talk about what the Community Foundation is. And it seems like a lot of communities have them. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what they are and what you do and how you get businesses and organizations connected with some additional funding.
Okay. So community foundations, actually in Indiana, we're the only state in the nation that has a community foundation in every single county. Okay. So that's a little interesting tidbit. Yeah. So we're different from most nonprofits because a lot of them have like a specific focus. Mm-hmm. We take care of everything in the community. So it could be animals, it could be, beautification, the youth, elderly, everything you can think of in the community. That's what we're serving. And so when people donate to the Community Foundation, we invest that donation and we don't ever spend it. So we only spend a small portion of the earnings, and then that's what we give back to the community in grants and scholarships.
I love that. So if what kind of organizations can apply for grants, and then what types of grants are maybe popular?
So we have about 120 different funds, and donors set up the criteria for those funds.
Okay.
So if they have a fund that's already designated for a charity or a church, then the money automatically goes to them. Our unrestricted grants are where people can apply for funds from us. So as long as you're a 501c3, a nonprofit, or a school or a government entity, then you can apply for grants. We have a grant cycle once a year. We actually just finished this week, so we'll be announcing that next week on our grants to the community. But yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I bet you've had some big numbers on the unrestricted side that you've been able to connect people with that fund.
Yeah, and we always get way more in requests than what we have money to give, especially this year. State and federal funding cuts have really affected a lot of our local nonprofits, so the need was even greater this year than it has been in the past.
Yeah, well, I love that that's there. That's what it's all about. How can people get information or stay connected with the with those grants so they know how to apply and how all that process works?
Generally just contact me if they're not already on our list. So we can go to our website is scottcountyfoundation.org. We have all kinds of information on there on how to get involved, how to donate, all of our programs and things that we do in the community.
And for someone that's watching or listening that may want to create a fund in honor of someone, or leave some money that might benefit an organization annually, or an application process, how does that work?
We try and make it very simple. We meet with a donor, we find out what it is that they're passionate about. We have a lot of different fund types, so typically people think scholarships when they come here, but we have so many more different types of ways that donors can give. They can choose to be involved, they can choose just to give the money and let our board make the decision. So we really like to sit down and customize, make it a personal experience for each donor. And so depending on the type of fund, it's $5,000 to start an endowment fund. For a scholarship, it's $20,000. But any of our 120 plus funds that we have, you can donate to any of those in any amount.
All right, Jamie, tell me about some of the special stories or special youth programs, Youth Grant Coalition.
So we have a youth grant making council that's for students in 6th through 12th grade. We have, I think, a little over 80 members right now, but we teach philanthropy to the kids. So they do community service projects every month. They have an endowment where they have people apply for grants from them, and then they award grants to the community for youth projects. And so they're learning what it's like to be a good board member when they're an adult. And we hope that when they come back to Scott County or wherever they live, that they already know, about giving and serving in their communities.
Wow. And so is that a program through the school, or could parents?
It's all through us.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do parents get their kiddos connected with that?
So applications are due at the beginning of August. They can contact me for an application. The kids they make all the decisions. So they'll turn in an application and then they go before the board for an interview. So it can be intimidating, but it's also a very helpful experience for kids to be able to, go through an interview and learn those life skills as well. Yeah.
Tell me, I know you've given out, a lot of different funds to a lot of different organizations. Does anything kind of come to mind, like a special story or someone that they just couldn't believe it? You have these connections with some additional funding where you're able to make a huge difference. I know you had a long list of donors last year. I think it would be hard to choose.
Yeah, and being here for, for 20 years, it's hard just to find that one story.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, donors have a variety of reasons to give. One that, I think stands out to me is we had a couple that got married many years ago, and they got married a little bit later in life, so they asked, instead of wedding gifts, they wanted a fund started at the Community Foundation. So it's one of the unrestricted funds that, is able to award grants every year. But I have 100 more stories that are just like that are really special and meaningful for people.
Yeah. Well, I love that in Southern Indiana, the people that live here, work here, play, do all the things, they have a heart for others. And I love that we have those community foundations. You taught me something I didn't know about Indiana being amazing and being the only state that has that. So way to go. And so if you'd like to get connected with that, you can check out your county in Indiana. We'd like to get some more information here specifically for Scott County. You can do so and get with Jamie, and she'll get you all the connections. We'll be back here. I'm Kelly Trask.
Looking to build your dream home? TK Constructors invites you to our open house event at our brand new model center in Seymour. Join us June 14th, 11 to 3 at 9850 West US Highway 50 to tour our newest model home. Talk with home building experts. Discover how TK makes building on your land simple and affordable. TK is the Midwest's most trusted home builder. Visit tkconstructors.com for details.
Now it's time for the Pet of the Week right here on Southern Indiana Now. Meet Chester. He's a rescued 3-year-old potbelly pig who loves watermelon when it's hot. He and his brother Spike live on Purple Shamrock Farms. Thanks to Stephanie Strothman for sending that in. If you would like to submit your Pet of the Week, we would love to feature it. Send us an email at southernindiananow@gmail.com with your pet's photo and name, and we will randomly select pets to be featured on each episode. And that's a wrap on this episode of Southern Indiana Now. I want to remind you, you can find us all places you can get a podcast. SouthernIndianaNow.com, our YouTube channel, as well as Spotify, Apple, and more. Be back next week. Be here for it.